So I've had a very bad day. You can probably tell just by listening to me, but I am sick as a dog. Okay, maybe not as a dog. It's not that bad. It's like maybe a 5 or a 6 out of 10 cough and sore throat that I've got going on right here, but it is enough that it will definitely limit the speech capacities of my vocal cords. Not only that, but it's been a very bad day for me fantasy hockey-wise, because I was relying on Adin Hill. Adin Hill, man. Vegas Golden Knights, they're supposed to be good. Hill's supposed to be the Canadian goalie of the future, but man, he sucks this year. What the hell happened to this guy? I'm losing my goalie matchup this week by a pretty significant margin because Adin Hill and my streamer for today, Vitek Vanacek, these guys are not doing all too well. But anyways, all doom and gloom fantasy hockey talk and me being sick talk aside, the Vancouver Canucks have finally won their first game of this season. I wanted to focus on this game and not the other two games involving my other two favorite teams, the Wings and the Habs, because, you know, they kinda stunk too, and I don't really know if it's all too productive to make a video about two of my favorite teams losing while I'm here hoping that my voice is going to be able to recover. Let's just talk about the good and focus on that because the Vancouver Canucks have defeated the reigning, defending, undisputed Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers team, and it took them overtime to do it. Now sure, I'm going to go out there and say that the Panthers that we had seen today were not the best version of the Panthers that do exist. This Cats team had no Barkov, this Cats team had no Tkachuk. So obviously it's not the Stanley Cup championship caliber Panthers that we saw in this game, but the Vancouver Canucks, based off of the circumstances, were able to take control and win. I will say, this game was kind of all over the place. I'd say that momentum really swung in both teams' favor pretty consistently throughout the matchup. I mean, in the first period, it was pretty even. In the second period, I feel like the Panthers started to come alive, especially towards the end of that. And then in the third, I'd say it was more so Vancouver, just continuously piling on the centering passes and the shots in front, shots off the post, and other brilliant saves made by Sergei Bobrovsky. But Vancouver ultimately takes this one in the end with a 3-2 overtime victory. Now, let's get into some of the news at the beginning here. It was already announced in the morning that Derek Forbort would be leaving the Vancouver Canucks due to personal reasons, and that Erik Brannstrom was recalled. So with this, you had yourselves Brannstrom suiting into the lineup. Vinny Desharnais also drew in as well. That means that Forbort and Noah Juulsen were both out. For Erik Brannstrom, I thought he was pretty good, admittedly. Like, I think there were some moments where he pinched in, he was trying to contribute offensively, he was getting the puck towards the goal. That's all you could really ask for out of this guy, and he didn't really make too many mistakes either, so obviously I think he has a role here if the Vancouver Canucks wanted to give it to him. Vinny Desharnais, I didn't really notice all too much, admittedly. Maybe I was just sick and not really paying attention, but he was there, big dude. It's hard to miss him when he does play, but the Vancouver Canucks, especially towards the end there, were really tightening things down defensively, and everybody was getting involved, so that was ultimately great to see. Let's go into the first period where we see ourselves the first goal of the game. It is a wraparound chance by Teddy Blueger, who, on the backhand, tries to shove it into the open post far side, but Sergei Bobrovsky gets a leg on it. He stops it up, the play continues, and eventually the Canucks get themselves a power play. But upon video review, the referees wanted to dial this one back and take a look. Turns out when Teddy Blueger wrapped the puck around and shoved it on goal, turns out Sergei Bobrovsky didn't get it in time, as the puck barely crossed the line with millimeters to spare. There was white ice on the video camera replay, and the goal stands. Teddy Blueger makes it 1-0 Vancouver against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, and assists go out to Kiefer Sherwood and Jake DeBrusk, so that is Kiefer Sherwood's first point as a Vancouver Canuck. Nice to see that out of him. However, the Canucks' lead is very short-lived because just 10 seconds later, the Panthers respond with a goal of their own. Gustav Forsling and Mackie Samoskevich get the assist on a Jesper Boqvist goal. The Canucks just kind of lose their assignments as the Panthers dash right into the zone, center it out, it deflects off the goaltender, and then Boqvist is there on the back door to shove it in. Just a terrible response by Vancouver after they got the 1-0 lead to quickly give it up. Credit to the Florida Panthers, though, because this is exactly what their hockey is branded as. Direct, no nonsense, they just keep on going, they hound you, and they make things difficult, they strike while the iron is hot, and that's how they were able to tie it up. There were some chances towards the end of the first period. Elias Pettersson hit the crossbar on a really beautiful and easy centering feed. And then you also had Sam Bennett getting robbed by Kevin Lankinen immediately after on a cross-crease chance. Both Bob and Lankinen played well in this game. I thought they were both awesome. Kevin Lankinen, I think, should be the Vancouver Canucks starter going forward. He's just exhibited a really calm presence in net, and he's been very solid to boot. Not to mention Sergei Bobrovsky, who was making some really great saves, especially in the third period there. He was giving the Panthers all the chances they needed to win this game. In the second period, we have ourselves a disallowed goal. Kevin Lankinen barely stopping the puck coming in on a backdoor play, kicking it off at the goal line. So there you go. Sergei Bobrovsky led in the first Vancouver goal on a really tight kick play on the goal line. But Kevin Lankinen, his turn to shine, he does it successfully, he stops it up, it's kept out in the net, and the Vancouver Canucks eventually score. It's Quinn Hughes with his first on the season on a slap shot from far out. This comes off of a rebound opportunity in front because of a blocked shot. But there was a coach's challenge on this one too. It was for the face-off. They were trying to determine whether or not Nils Åman won the face-off with his glove rather than his stick. But upon video review, the goal stands. Quinn Hughes makes it 2-1 officially for the Vancouver Canucks. And then the pressure just keeps on coming. Jake DeBrusk got robbed by Bobrovsky, set up in front by Elias Pettersson, Kevin Lankinen continued making saves, and then the Canucks went shorthanded. And the Panthers tied it up 2-2. Anton Lundell, he had so much space on the right side to walk right in. All three Canucks that were in the slot area there, they just kind of went away and gave Lundell a very clear pass to the front of the goal. He ends up walking in and sniping it on Lankinen. Very terribly defended goal there from the Vancouver Canucks perspective, and it's 2-2 as a result. In the third period, though, this is where I feel Sergei Bobrovsky and the Florida Panthers post really came out to play, because Bob was robbing everybody. Brock Besser walked in on a slap shot saved by Bob. Garland to Höglander on the rush. Hoggy hit the post. Quinn Hughes from behind the net set out in front to Åman. He gets robbed by Bobrovsky. JT Miller robbed by Bobrovsky right in front. Bob was making some crazy saves, and the Canucks were having all the pressure and zone time in the third period. This was one of those games where I was feeling like, the Canucks are going to lose, and everybody's going to say, oh yeah, moral victories, right? They played very well in the third. They were the better team in the third. But still, they're going to find a way to lose this one because that's just the Canucks brand of hockey, baby. It's been 0-1-2 so far with this same formula. Again, in a game where they ended up leading for a good chunk of it, and they still are going to find a way to lose, of course, right? And then we went to overtime, and I was thinking the same thing. It's going to be exactly the same like Florida and Philadelphia, right? And then I was proven wrong immediately after, because Quinn Hughes brings the puck into the Panthers zone, quickly turns around and throws it back over to JT, who's at the center faceoff line, ends up coming down into the zone once again with speed, shoots, and he scores, making it 3-2 Vancouver and giving the Canucks their first win on the season. JT Miller, what a beautiful play, and what a beautiful goal to finally give the Canucks a dub here. I'd say the Canucks overall played a pretty solid game. Power play, they could have used a lot of work on that. They didn't really look all too good. The only effective unit, I'd say, on the power play was the second unit. The first unit was definitely not able to do much. The penalty kill for Vancouver needs a little bit of work in terms of tightening things down, but for the most part, they killed off all the other ones. Goaltending, I'd say, Kevin Lankinen looked pretty good. You would still like to see more out of Elias Pettersson, but when it comes to the other star players, Brock had some chances, Miller had some chances in the OT goal, Quinn Hughes looked great as always, so the Vancouver Canucks finally win themselves a game in the 24-25 season, and I need to go to bed and try to rest my voice. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks and the Florida Panthers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.